Hello. The moment I resisted, you called me. I tried hard to be here on this stage, but the moment I said I don't care, I ended up here.
Did you hear that? Do you get that? There's a difference between step 1 and step 3, isn't there?
Yes.
Yeah.
Definitely. I want to talk with you so much that I don't know where to begin. One of the things where I'm very curious, I graduated from physics from university, so I have a very scientific mind. So I always wanted to understand how universe works, how all that happened, who we really are, and all the laws of universe. And I taught people. I ran seminars and classes. I attracted many people to me to understand what I taught them. And now what I came to, it's so simple that I don't know how to teach people. It ran basically in a course of probably half an hour to explain who you are and how it works. Nevertheless, one of the questions I have for you is, since everything already exists, and I exist in a different version ever possible could be.
Everything already exists and is continually remaking itself anew.
Okay, that's what you just answered that. Because I always thought if everything already exists, then I existed all different versions. So where is that for that new? And you just answered the new versions of me. So thank you for that. Another question is, how is that if I'm the only real thing in the whole in existence is my perception of others, a perception of the universe. And what it comes to, what I understand, that I'm the only one in this room. Rest of the people here are the versions of me, the way I see them. The only people I can really interact is the people who are matching my vibration. They have something in them, in their belief, that we can see each other. Other than that, you can see all walking ghosts and all different versions of me and different beings. So how is that me being just only one in universe, how is that we collaborate all the universes if my perception is the one platform of seeing? So how is that we are meeting somehow in the same universe if the fact, in my understanding, is that there is only one universe, my own perception?
There's a small flaw in your premise that is sort of setting it into a place that you can't hear the answer. And what that is that your assumption is that perception that you are offering is clear and pure and without contradiction, when in fact your vibration is about many different things. Even those generations who have lived before, who are part of your biological makeup, had vibrational experiences which now are a part of you as well. So you are much more diverse in your ability to perceive than you are able to focus upon or even comprehend. And that's why it is possible for you to perceive anything that is in this environment that you give your attention to. Does that make some sense to you?
Yes and no. I understand the fact that who I am at this particular moment, in this moment when I'm sitting here.
So what vibrations are active in me right now?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Like the radio signal that is broadcasting. Doesn't matter what it broadcasted yesterday. What it's broadcasting today is equaling the components that are coming together. That's what's allowing it, yes?
Yes. Because it varies from the split second to split seconds who I am. And that's what that signal I'm emanating. So I'm attracting all these people to me. So,
well, let's start in another place because it's hard to follow. And while your question is pointed, we want to give some basis and then we'll play together just a little bit. So we talked about visiting, for example, the city of Athens, where so much history is and so many civilizations have been, and where there is a substantial remnant of what has come before. We're going to come at this from a different perspective than you are anticipating. We're going to sneak up on you, and then it will be easier for you to understand what we mean. And maybe your question will even be more meaningful to you. Which would you prefer? What do you think would be the most satisfying experience? To return to that city as you were when you lived there, and to remember the things that you talked about and the things that you ate and the people you knew and the things you did? Or to visit that city from your now perspective of all of this expansion and evolution that you've experienced since then and perceive it through your new eyes?
yeah, my new eyes, of course.
What we want you to realize is that every particle of the universe is having that kind of expansion. And that when you think a thought, then that thought actually thinks. What's a little confusing, especially if you're human, is that most of you think that you're the only ones that are thinking. It even surprises you when you realize how intelligent your animals are, and you realize how much they're thinking, because you begin to think that thinking and speaking are pretty much about the same thing. But then when you even begin to contemplate that something that I really can't identify as anything that's living, like a thought that has been thought is now thinking, now you begin to see how deep and rich and broad and long-lasting consciousness is. And so then what sometimes happens is that rather than trying to figure out how it all began or even perceive it, most of you, have you ever had an argument with someone and then life sort of continues to unfold for a day or two and you can't even remember what you were fighting about? Because you're in a whole different frame of mind now and you actually don't have access to those thoughts. So if you can notice yourself as a transmitting and receiving mechanism and then contemplate the variety of frequencies and vibrations and waves that are moving around you, and then from your alignment with your inner being, begin to focus into those environments and then notice what you're attracted to and what's attracted to you, then your understanding of the only part of the universe that matters will come keenly to you. And the only part of the universe that matters that then does come keenly to you is the here and now, where all of your power is. We want to say, in a way that doesn't hurt your feelings, that anything that you ever lived before is irrelevant. Even those non-physical energies who will certainly join you in Athens are joining you in the now. They're not asking you to go back and understand them in their then. Esther came out of the dressing room after washing her hands, and she was walking past a shelf that she's walked past several times today and in the other day that she was back there. And she walked back and her head turned because we wanted her to see something. And she went over and there was sheet music lying there, a lot of it on all the shelves. But what she looked at was the notes and the lyrics to the song, "You'd Be So Nice to Come Home To." And Esther wondered, does this have anything to do with that Athens thing that Abraham was talking about? And we say yes, because all of that consciousness is eager for you to come home to what they called home, but to rendezvous. In other words, they're coming home to you. You're not going home to them. Why does it seem important to explain your now by what has been before?
It's not important. That's what I came to conclusion, because as I said, part of me it's that scientific mind, and on the other is just that wanting to trust that all that is, it's most important thing, and not to wanted to figure out how that we came about and where we come from.
Life just continues to be a series of experiences where focusers can focus for the pleasure of the focus. And humans keep wanting to make it more than that. They want to make it the way they are evaluated or judged, rather than it being the way that you are experiencing your joy of being.
Yeah, we were taught for so many thousands of years to think in Newtonian physics on cause and effect. And now we are asked to think in quantum physics where it's all energy. And it's so kind of that difficult to switch your mind and start accepting and not questioning how that happened. Before we had to see, in order to move the object, you see the result. Where here, you don't. So that mind, where most of us have a difficult time with, is even to the point where so many modalities, till now, we're teaching us to examine the belief system.
But think about those scientists and creative geniuses that came before, and the thread of discovery that they were about, and how so many of the conclusions that they came to had to give way to the next theory, and then those conclusions had to give way to the next, and then those conclusions had to give way to the next. And in all of it, in every single phase of the evolution of understanding, there was always this sense that there was something more. What's out there in that nothingness? And then one by one, they began to describe that the nothingness was never nothingness, that it was always somethingness. It was just somethingness that could not be perceived until you were ready to perceive it. The same thing is going on now. If any of them in that thread of discovery were sitting here in this conference and having a conversation with us, many of them would be jumping for joy in the exhilaration of discovering that it's that law of attraction, those things coming together, which was the missing piece that they were not understanding.
Yeah.
You're following?
Yes, of course. Yeah, I do.
We know that these words are not enough for someone who's been exploring as you have. We also know that your exploration has put so much into your vortex that these simple premises that we are presenting here, and those that you've discovered yourself and that you teach, will hold you in a place of satisfaction where realizations and revelations will occur to you. But we want to say to you, there are not going to be any really big discoveries. Not really big discoveries, not anything that rocks the whole scientific world, because this is a world that you never intended to rock that way. This is a world of steady and joyful evolution and expansion. And so even those discoveries that seemed like they were revolutionary, they were not. They were just the next logical step. They were just the next logical perception. And you know, the conversation that we had earlier with our friend when we were talking about the difference between beliefs and knowing, the beliefs of what you're exploring in your physical senses as you talk about physics and as you acknowledge and document the laws of the universe and as you watch the consistency of things and you come to those beliefs. We want you, just for a little while, to focus upon, and it will be thrilling for you, to focus upon the difference that seems subtle but is larger than we can even define between believing something and knowing something. When you get hold of these laws that you are now hold of, the law of attraction, the law of allowing, really the law or the art of focus, and you focus yourself in your now in concert with your inner being, what you will find is a satisfaction about what you are perceiving, and it will cause you to leave behind any desire or necessity at all to understand what any other is perceiving. See how it all blends together? Your now reality, which is the basis from which your questions and desires are born, is necessary before there can be a question that infinite intelligence can answer, and that's what perception is. And how could anyone separate themselves from everything else that exists when everything that is non-physical is the sum total of all that has existed?
Perfect.
We know. Helpful?
Very helpful.
Say yes.
Thank you. Yes.
Enough?
Yes.